You're worth $28 billion. You live in a palace you are not allowed to sell. You travel in cars you don't technically own. You wear jewels worth more than most countries' treasuries. And you can never, ever quit your job. Most people hear British royal and picture the ultimate jackpot. Endless money, endless freedom, a life with no limits. But here's the strange part. The royal family is one of the richest institutions on earth, and almost none of that wealth is actually theirs to spend. The money isn't something they have, it's something they're trapped inside of. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how a family can sit on $28 billion and still not own it, why they're effectively the world's most expensive employees, and why being born into the crown is less of a gift and more of a sentence. If the economics of power is your thing, subscribe. This is the whole channel. Start with the money, because the scale is genuinely absurd. At the center of it sits something called the Crown Estate, a vast portfolio of British land and property. Prime real estate across central London, shopping centres, farmland. And here's the wild one, the seabed. The Crown Estate owns almost the entire seabed around the United Kingdom, out to 12 nautical miles. Every offshore wind farm pays to be there. Total value? Around $15.5 billion. Then add the palaces. Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle. The Royal Collection, one of the largest art collections in the world, hundreds of thousands of paintings, Leonardo's, Rembrandt's, Fabergé eggs. And the crown jewels themselves, literally priceless. So valuable, no one even tries to put a final number on them. Stack it all together, and you land somewhere around $28 billion. So far, this looks exactly like the fantasy. The richest family in Britain swimming in treasure. But now we hit the catch. And the catch changes everything. Here's what almost nobody understands about that $28 billion. The royals can't touch most of it. Take the Crown Estate, that $15 billion empire. The king does not own it as a private person. He can't sell a single field of it. He can't pocket the rent. By a deal struck back in 1760, the monarch hands over all of the Crown Estate's profits to the government every single year. In return, the family gets an allowance. It's called the sovereign grant, recently around $86 million a year, to pay for staff, travel, and keeping the palaces standing. Think about that for a second. They surrender billions in profit and receive an expense account back. They are functionally managing a fortune they're not allowed to spend. It's the same story everywhere you look. Buckingham Palace can't be sold. It's held in trust for the nation and the next monarch. The crown jewels can't be sold. The royal collection can't be sold. The word for it is inalienable, owned by the institution, frozen for whoever comes next. The king does have some private income from an old estate called the Duchy of Lancaster, worth around $800 million. It pays him a private income of roughly 20-some million a year. Real money, but a rounding error next to the $28 billion everyone thinks he controls. So the headline is true and a lie at the same time. The family sits on top of $28 billion. They are custodians of it, not owners of it. Most billionaires own their wealth. A royal is owned by theirs. And the wealth is only half the cage. The other half is the life. Because the title isn't a privilege you enjoy. It's a job. A job with a contract no one ever showed you, that you didn't apply for, and that you are expected to work until the day you die. The rules are brutal in a quiet way. As monarch, you cannot vote. You cannot share a political opinion, not one, not ever, in public. You cannot freely choose your career, your faith, or, for centuries, even who you marry. Every word you say is passed by the press of an entire planet. Every dollar of that sovereign grant is public money, so every expense is examined, reported, and argued over. You don't get a weekend. You don't get to log off. The performance of being royal is essentially always on. And if you think you can just leave, there's a name for the person who tried: Edward VIII. In 1936, he was king, and he wanted to marry the woman he loved. The institution said no, so he abdicated. He chose freedom over the crown, and he was effectively erased, pushed out of the country, frozen out of the family, turned into a cautionary tale told to every royal who came after. The message was permanent. The crown is bigger than you. You serve it. It does not serve you. That's the part the tabloids never capture. You can have the palaces and the jewels and the 28 billion and still wake up every morning inside a life you are not allowed to put down. So step back and look at what this actually adds up to. You have unimaginable wealth, and you can't spend the vast majority of it. You have the grandest homes on earth, and you can't sell them or even really call them yours. You have global fame and total financial security, and in exchange you surrender your privacy, your politics, your freedom, and your right to ever simply stop. This is a very specific kind of trap, and it's almost invisible, because from the outside it looks like the opposite of a trap. The cage isn't made of anything you can point to. It's made of trusts you can't break, traditions you can't refuse, and the memory of a king in 1936 who tried to walk away and lost everything but his name. Absolute wealth without ownership. A lifetime of luxury without autonomy. The richest family in the country holding $28 billion they're forbidden to touch. In a job they're forbidden to quit. Most people spend their whole lives wishing they could be born into that kind of money. But the royals were born into something else entirely. A fortune they only get to hold, and a life that was never really theirs to choose. You don't own the crown owns you. If this rewired how you see the monarchy, tell me in the comments which life you'd actually pick. And the next one's already coming. The economics of being a Saudi prince.